What's up, everybody? It's your favorite three-fingered T-Rex's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Toyworld's Grimlock. I got some issues here right away. Mainly the neck. What exactly is he gonna... How's he gonna swallow an Energon cube? This little itty-bitty neck here, and then it gets down fatter. But, yeah, that's just an aesthetic cue for me that doesn't really sit well. There is some light piping. I like that they used that and utilized it for the dinosaur mode, but it doesn't really work unless you get it right on there at the right angle. Otherwise, it's not the best. But it's there. E for effort, isn't that what they say? Accessory-wise, he comes with a boatload, but we're going to look at that more when we talk about the combiner. For him, he comes with his kind of signature double cannon or double-barreled handgun, and I believe that can plug in up here, maybe? I don't know. Maybe on the side. And then he's got a transparent sword as well, and that too can plug in on the side, but you know how I feel about stuff like that. It's not really for me. I wonder if he can go in up here. He can go in up there as well. And then how about over here? So no less ridiculous, but yay for options. So yeah, outside of those couple things, he's pretty cool. Let's talk about him. Head is on a hinge here with a really great range of motion because he has no full neck, and that just looks really silly to me. Really silly. I mean, it's not bad like that, and if you have him in the typical Grimlock pose, it's fine. But, yeah, not my favorite. I like the red break up there. I like the blue eyes. I like all that stuff. Arm is on a ball joint, and then a hinge at the elbow, and then I thought that was on a hinge too, a swivel at the wrist, and then each finger is independently articulated on a hinge. Same on the other side. Nice color breakup with the blacks in there. The red and black break that up. The gold looks good. The green, blue, and red look good per usual. Gold chrome looks good. The tail has no articulation, and the thighs have a universal joint, or the legs have a universal joint here, and then it double hinges out to there. So not the best, but not the worst. And then you got the swivel, and then the elbow that acts ratcheted that you can use as a knee. And then no rocker, which is kind of a bummer, but kind of necessary, I guess. And then toe tilt on both sides. So, and that's pretty much him. And I got the transparent piece here. Looks pretty good. Aside from the few things, the range of motion, he almost can get his hands together. It looks pretty good. Okay, let's try to get this mamma jamma transformed. So, this whole top bit here, you kind of have to push up at an angle and then untab, because it's that piece there that locks in, and then fold that back, and then open up this here, and I think you want to untab this. Now I think you can actually keep this together, but I've found that if you do this and just kind of get it out of the way, it helps a little bit later on. Now these gold pieces here, they come up, right? Make sure I know what I'm doing here, because I'm not entirely sure that I do. Okay, it's the whole piece with the gray. Alright. They come up all the way. There you go. And then these pieces rotate up and then lock back down there. This guy has a couple features that like locks things in place that I'm a real big fan of. This being one of them. So kudos, I suppose. And then flip the head up, and then this chest piece comes up and tabs in. Looks like I know what I'm doing. Alright. Then the legs. So you split the tail. I've already kind of done while I was transforming him. Twist it around like this, and then tab that back in to the side there. Same on the other side. Cool. Rotate these down. Split the legs. Then, let's see. I know that these come down and flip around. Yeah, like that, and that tabs in, and then this is the other locking mechanism. This piece comes up here and then covers that screw hole and tabs in. That I like. I like stuff like that. Same on the other side. No, I gotta turn it again. Alright, now I should have her. Alright. And then, same thing. Boom. Get the hands situated. Now I've seen people, like I've seen pictures in the groups and stuff. There's you can like tuck these claws in to have the non-claws, but you know, I'm a guy that respects tradition. Do you know what I mean? I'm big on tradition, so we're gonna keep them claws out. You guys can get willy-nilly on your own time. You know what I'm saying? And then fold this back down, that up, and there he is. And let's talk about him. I generally like him. There are some things that are a little weird, but we'll talk about it. So head is on a ball joint that's pretty good. Good up, good down. This hinge here, it locks it down, but I guess it gives it up, so it doesn't really hurt it that much. Good light piping. So that's cool. You got to have the light kind of right behind him, but if you do, it looks pretty cool. And that's paint on there, and that looks good. Yellow, and yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm not sure if I'm crazy about that look in general. Like I think I like his face to kind of all be one color, but it's not hateful. So moving on down, translucent, kind of a staple of the character, so I'm okay with that. The gold looks good. Not a lot of paint on the red, but where it is, like the silver in there, that's fine. Universal double hinges here for the shoulders, soft ratchet there, and then the double hinge, and you can have them up. You know, you can do whatever you want. You can have the, you know, the big. Let me raise the camera up a little bit. You can have the big bulky shoulders like up at the top, or you can rock the shoulders on down and have them down at the bottom. That's kind of a personal preference thing. I think I like them up a little bit, but maybe that's because I'm used to seeing the masterpiece. Not entirely sure, but range of motion is pretty good. You know, not hateful. It looks like there's some that's lost up at the top, like this range here, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. The color breakup works really well, translated from dinosaur mode to robot mode there. Bicep swivels intact. Double jointed elbow, get you 90 degrees. Wrist is on a swivel, fingers are on a single pin at the base knuckle. So that's all good. And you get a tilt, like a hinge there on the wrist. So that's cool, especially for a melee weapon. Same on the other side. Love the little red paint accents there. Works really well. Translates well from dinosaur to robot, so I dig that. Waist swivel. You kind of got to unlock that a little bit from the back in order to make it happen. And then it's still not the cleanest, but it is there. And that's one of those things. You might be able to rotate this in order, let's try, yeah, you can do that. And then you get a little bit more of it regularly, and it is ratcheted. And that's one of those things that's just, it's lost in translation. It's sacrifice, like, to make this thing combined. And you know, I'm not crazy about that just as a philosophy. Not only them combining, but also sacrificing aesthetics and articulation in order to make something that doesn't need to combine. So, but it is there. You just gotta work her a little bit. These flaps articulate here. It's hard for me to say. I'm gonna guess on a ball joint, but maybe it's just a swivel. And then so do these and these. To get your universal hips in motion, which gets you ratcheted universals all the way out to here. Really hard ratchets forward all the way out to there. So even with the limited hip skirts there, you still get a pretty good range of motion. Thigh swivels intact. Knee, it's just ratcheted, and it's a really tight ratchet, but it does work. You just gotta put your back into it, girl. And I think I can get one more click out of her. Don't break on me, baby. All right, get to 90 degrees, and then my little peg came out though. That's work. That's work right there. And then you get your ankle. Oh, these feet. See, now you're supposed to do something with these feet, but I kind of like them like this. But what you can do is you can flip them around like this. That will make them a little bit more sturdy, and that's fine. And then you get your rocker on the foot as well as a toe tilt. Once again, it's kind of a faux rocker and tilt, but it works. It works just fine. So we'll do the weapon test. We'll do 1 and 1. Holds his sword just fine. Little loose, but nothing to complain about. Just pointing it out. And gun, just fine. So no worries there. All in all, not bad. So just to stay consistent, there he is with a modern day Voyager, a modern day Deluxe, and an MP car. And I gotta tell you, like, looking at him, the more I look at him, the more I like him. There are some sacrifices that were made for him to combine that are kind of annoying me, and I'm standing up, so I'm getting a better look. But let's go handheld. Let's get our Spike Lee on. And, you know, like, I don't know. Like, there's just a lot of stuff back in there. Whatever. But, you know, we all have to make sacrifices to get what we want sometimes.
If you pre-order that, you're not getting a new pair of shoes.
I don't do that much walking anyway. Final thoughts wise, my only issues here are the small things they have to sacrifice in order to make this thing combined. The knees and such are problematic. They're problematic because the joints are super tight. The joints are super tight because they needed to hold a combined pose. We'll see how they pull that off in the end. But stuff like that. Same with the waist swivel. And as you can see, I'm utilizing it here, and there's no real issue. If you look close enough, you'll find the flaws, but you know, it still works. He's got a fair amount of kibble still. This stuff here, you know, and the fair amount of the typical Grimlock backpack, which, you know, what are you going to do, right? He's got a dinosaur hanging off of him. You know, business as usual. But all in all, he's pretty articulated. Their paint breakup is fantastic. The quality materials is good. The chrome works fairly well. I don't know. My biggest complaints are definitely the kibble and the sacrifices that they make in order to pull off the combine mode. There's a lot of good going on here. I gotta say, Toyworld really came through on this set for the most part. It's a shame they kind of screwed the pooch with the swoop, because that puppy leaves a lot to be desired. But the rest of these turned out fairly well. I don't think this is a bad set. Now we're gonna see if the combine thing works, and I'll be as unbiased as possible. I'll do that video as soon as possible. No promises on being unbiased, because it's just conceptually it's not for me, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But you know, all the things that you need to work in a figure work here. The mold is good, the sculpt is good, the materials are fine, the chrome works, the paint works, the accessories work, it transforms well, it's fun, it's a decent figure. I think it could have been better. You know, it could have been even better had they not done the combiner aspect, but having done the combiner aspect, it's a pretty good figure. So if you want a G1 animated, I know I keep saying it, but you're going to keep hearing it, because that's what I got to say. But if you want a G1 animated chug representation for your shelf, I don't think it's a bad choice, and I think you'll be pretty happy. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.